wealth, fame, power. Gold Roger, the king of the pirates, attained this and everything else the world had to offer, and his dying words drove countless souls to the seas. You want my treasure? You can have it. I left everything I gathered together in one place. Now you just have to find it. These words lured men to the Grand Line in pursuit of dreams greater than they've ever dared to imagine. This is the time known as the Great Pirate Era. Our story begins not so long ago. As we explore the world, we learn about the past of our favorite pirate crew members from the Straw Hat Pirates. Today, we learn about our favorite happy-go-lucky captain, Monkey D. Luffy. At 10 years old, back in Fuchsia Village, Luffy loved going to the party's bar. But for a very specific reason, to always check in on his hero, Shanks. Shanks is not only Luffy's hero, but he is the captain of the pirate crew, the Red Hair Pirates. Daring, brave, bold, and at countless times reckless, he inspired Luffy to become a pirate captain of his own. This became a special place for Luffy to check in and see what his hero was up to. While Shanks became both a parental and inspirational figure to the youngin', there's also the owner of the party's bar, Makino. The owner and loyal friend to Luffy and Shanks is a special person in both of their lives. She is someone who always comes to help support and care for her friends and her friends' crews. Someone that you can go to for help and someone you can always rely on. But we should not forget the most important person of all. This story revolves around the one and only Monkey D. Luffy, the boy who would become the greatest pirate to ever live and to eat one of the most phenomenal fruits man can ever eat. The Gum Gum fruit. The fruit that gives our young hero special abilities. It seems like we're being interrupted by this wanted poster of one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Dracula Mihawk, also known as the Marine Hunter. He's not someone that you or anyone should try to test, as he's not only a very skilled swordsman, but he is also considered as the strongest swordsman in the world. Intimidating and skillful, Mihawk is a man that no one wishes to face in battle. But we will learn of one crew member of the Straw Hat Pirates who does encounter him and fights him face to face. But that's a story for another day. But besides that, the Gum Gum fruit comes with a price. The price to trade, being able to swim, for being permanently bounded by the fruit's power to become a rubber human. For if the user shall encounter water, the user becomes weak and could possibly succumb to the ocean's magnificence and its equally deadly depths. Shanks made a promise to Luffy after an accident that resulted in him losing his arm to a great sea king, in which Luffy would return his hat to him only after he becomes a great pirate that surpasses Shanks' own status. But with these stories, we could be able to learn more about Luffy and his friends and their journey to find the legendary One Piece. On our journey, we will learn more about his crew members and friends, Nami the Navigator, Roronoa Zoro the Pirate Hunter, Blackleg Sanji the Cook, and Sniper King Usopp. But for now, we shall set sail to find the One Piece and prove its legendary stories are real. Our story continues with going forward in time, with the time when Luffy met 2 of his teammates, Roronoa Zoro and Nami. The only thing is that there's different legends of how he met them. like how Luffy met Zoro by seeking his help to be recruited to be part of his pirate crew, versus Luffy seeks to find Zoro to help him find a map to the Grand Line. But regardless, they team up together and Nami joins them. There are legends of Nami joining them quickly versus joining them reluctantly, then sticking to the alliance and meeting in different places. But both reasons for the map of the Grand Line. But regardless, they find themselves amongst encountering Buggy the Clown. At this point, a pirate captain residing in Orangetown who dresses as a clown, who obsesses over treasure and loots others' belongings, and a user of the Chop Chop fruit. The Chop Chop fruit gives him the ability to split his body into many pieces, so if you were to be bringing a sword to a fruit fight, then you'd best be out of luck, for he can't be cut easily with just swords alone. And the fact that his body pieces can float around to be used as weapons can also make the match between him and whoever encounters him harder to handle. But some say that the encounter between the starter crew of the Straw Hat Pirates members and him started because of Luffy meeting Nami. She serves as the navigator of the crew, but she also was known to be a skilled thief that targets other pirate crews. Her and Luffy are said to have met when Nami was trying to steal from him, when Luffy was trying to stop Buggy from terrorizing Orangetown. They would reluctantly team up to stop his terror and chaos of Orangetown, but it wouldn't be enough for the two to fight Buggy and his crew alone. But this seemed like a job for Captain Luffy, Nami, and the one and only Zoro. But it seems like we have another wanted poster, but this time of Don Krieg, a pirate captain who is brought to shame when Dracula Mihawk defeats him and his crew. A man who relies more on fighting dirty without honor, even though he is said to consider himself a pirate admiral, given the nickname Foul Play Krieg. Relying also on being an overpowered and heavily armored individual to get the victory he claims to deserve. He crosses paths with Captain Luffy and the rest of the crew later in time. Of course, we get another wanted poster, but this time of Buggy the Clown. But we will be telling his biography during this story. As I was saying, Pirate Hunter Zoro, a man who relies on respect, boundaries, giving all you got, good food and naps, and you'll have a companion on your hand who will always be loyal and help whenever you need it. Some say Zoro came into the fight when Luffy and Nami encountered Buggy's terrorizing ploys against Orangetown and decided to help. But others say Zoro was with them at the time, captured and taken to his circus hideout and make a show out of their successful capture. But no one knows the true story of how they met. Speaking about Captain Luffy, we meet again Captain Monkey D. Luffy of the Straw Hat Pirates. This time, as a young adult in search of a pirate crew and friends that would help him journey to the Grand Line to discover and find out if the legendary tale of the One Piece is true or false. But regardless, as seen here, we see that it looked like they were taken to Buggy the Clown's circus hideout to be shown to an audience about Buggy's capture. But legends are said to change as it's passed from one person to another. Even though the stories are different, the outcome is a happy ending. In either legend, Captain Luffy, Nami, and Zoro defeat Buggy the Clown and his clown goons. Both legends share that Orangetown will not be threatened or fearing of Buggy's terrorizing actions or his demented ruling. As we dive deeper into these stories of the Straw Hat Pirates, we will learn more about Captain Luffy and his friends and their journey to find the legendary One Piece. On our journey, so far, we've met Captain Monkey D. Luffy, Nami the Navigator, and Roronoa Zoro the Pirate Hunter. But in the future, we will also meet Black Leg Sanji the Cook and Sniper King Usopp, along with other friends and foes they've encountered in their long journey. But for now, we shall set sail again to find the One Piece and prove that its legendary stories are real. Our story continues with the Straw Hat Pirates crew sailing the seas, and Captain Monkey D. Luffy, along with Zoro and Nami, have been making their way to the Grand Line to find the One Piece. Along the way, they recruit a young man in Syrup Village by the name of Usopp. In most legends, he is seen as the Straw Hat's pirate sniper, but in other legends, he becomes the sniper of the team after he switches from being a dock worker and shipyard boy. During this switch, he gets roped into the Straw Hat Pirates by fighting alongside Luffy, Nami, and Zoro when the Black Cat Pirates, led by the infamous Kuro, nicknamed Kuro of 100 Plans. Legends also say he faked his capture and death and gained a new identity under the name Kalidor, Usopp's friend Kaya's butler. When his intentions are revealed, it is said Usopp tried to get the Marines to help, but it failed, while others say Luffy and the others came in on instinct, and Usopp joined them to protect his friend and her family's legacy. After the battle, they set sail. They go to confront Nami's past. But I see we have another wanted poster of Dracula Mihawk. He follows you around, which is unsettling. Unfortunately, we will be seeing him in another chapter of the prologue. But it looks like we have another wanted poster. Well, it seems like our favorite pirate Captain Monkey D. Luffy made it on a pirate wanted poster. After all, he has a promise to Shanks that he must keep. His path to becoming the greatest pirate to ever exist is well coming to fruition. As I was trying to say, we begin with Chu. He is seen as the loyal supporter to Arlong and an officer in the Arlong Pirates. Chu would later show his devotion to the Arlong Pirates crew when fighting Usopp at Arlong Park. And from what legends say, Usopp bested Chu in battle using intelligent strategies against Chu's brute tactics. You might be wondering how all this ties in with Nami if we're talking about Arlong. Well, we must look back at Nami's past and see the struggles she went through that made her cross paths with Arlong. Legends have it that when Nami was a young girl, she was adopted by a young woman named Belmere with a biological daughter, Nojiko. Growing up in Kokoyashi village was easy for her, as she would always be obsessing over drawing maps and drawing the world's true representation, seeking some excitement. But when Arlong and his pirates wreak havoc over the Kokoyashi Island area and taking over the Konomi Islands, when Belmere refuses to hand her daughters over to Arlong to work for him, he unfortunately takes her life, and because of Nami's good topography skills, he forces her to work for him. And it seems like we have another wanted poster of Buggy the Clown. It might help with taking a breather from the story, but we do have to continue the story before we forget it. Here we are, back with Captain Arlong, one of the most ruthless pirates that to ever set sail on the seas. A shark man who believes that humans have destroyed their environments and their people, and that they should cease to exist, making dangerous moves to cause tension amongst the shark people and humans. It causes more tension for the team when finding out the truth about why Nami had to work for Arlong. The legend continues by describing how when Nami was trying to steal from other pirates to give it to Arlong, she did it to raise 1 million berries to buy Kokoyashi village's freedom from his reign, so she could be able to make the village and her fallen mother and separated adopted sister proud of her for doing the right thing, even if it looked like she betrayed them. But when she overhears Arlong talking to Captain Nezumi, a corrupt marine captain working under Admiral Garp, in which we will see him in another chapter, seizing Nami's stash of berries and making sure she doesn't reach her deal, so she could still be under Arlong's rule. This pushes her over the edge. And we get to see our favorite Captain Monkey D. Luffy ready and stretching his arms to engage in the action to take Arlong and his shark people pirates down and make sure they don't terrorize and rule over someone else's territories again. In some legends, Luffy comes in to save the day and help Nami after she tries to cut the Arlong Pirate's brand tattoo off her arm in anguish for feeling like her whole time being there was for nothing. He and the other Straw Hat Pirates decide that it's time to stop Arlong and that they would help her with gaining Kokoyami Island's freedom again. Other legends say that she would be going to them for help and they would end up agreeing and fighting to the end. This fight would make a moment in pirate history as the Straw Hat Pirates would be forming more of a special bond between each other. This would also put them all on the map for bounties to be put on their heads, as they would be seen as a major danger against the Marines. But this would also be the sign of how the Straw Hat Pirates would be a team that is built on fairness, respect, and encouragement to building toward a better future, while also looking for the One Piece. The adventures being made along the way helped all of them to see that these memories were destined to happen. So that way, they could not only become a great crew, but also a special family built on similar stories to self-realization and growth. As we dive deeper into these stories of the Straw Hat Pirates, we will learn more about Captain Monkey D. Luffy and his friends, and their journey to find the legendary One Piece. On our journey so far, we've met Captain Monkey D. Luffy, Nami the Navigator, Roronoa Zoro the Pirate Hunter, and Sniper King Usopp. But in the future, we will also meet Blackleg Sanji the Cook, along with other friends and foes they've encountered in their long journey. Their journeys and tales of adventure are starting to come into place, showing that this puzzle of a pirate adventure is leading towards something very miraculous and exciting. But for now, we shall set sail once again to find the One Piece and prove that its legendary stories are real. Our story continues with the Straw Hat Pirate crew sailing the seas, and with Captain Monkey D. Luffy now having his first main crew consisting of himself, Nami the Navigator, Roronoa Zoro the Pirate Hunter, Sniper King Usopp, and Blackleg Sanji the Cook. We also get to learn about another important member of the Straw Hat Pirates, the Going Merry. Now, the history behind the Going Merry has different legends. One of the legends consists of the Going Merry being named after Kaya's butler, Merry. One legend says after an encounter with Kuro in Kaya's mansion cellar, Kuro injured Merry gravely in succumbing to his injuries. Another legend says that Kuro injured Merry dramatically, but miraculously lived to take care of Kaya. After Captain Luffy, Nami, Zoro, and Usopp had encountered Kuro and the Black Cat Pirates, Kaya and Merry decided after their amazing acts of heroism, they would gift the Straw Hat Pirates a proper ship so they could start their pirate adventures properly. It seems like the first crew member to witness the official build of the Going Merry is none other than Zoro. He will be ready to take a good nap after the ship is officially built and completed. Zoro will also like that the ship has different places for him to sleep, train, and appreciate his position, as legend has it, as Captain Luffy's right-hand man. The Going Merry serves as an important crew member, as a pirate crew is never complete without the proper ship. It's like a calling that you don't know you need until it finds you, or in this case, gifted to you. Well, it seems like we have a wanted poster of Gold Roger himself. Fancy seeing you here, sir. Everyone is still looking for your treasure, and will continue to find it. While you might be gone, your legacy set the stage for the biggest treasure hunt to ever exist. But besides that, even though that Zoro has been introduced several times throughout these tales, we shall now be introduced to a special member of the Straw Hat Pirates. But unfortunately, we're now being interrupted by a wanted poster of Don Krieg, which I will say right now, this is the closest to an appearance he'll make in this prologue. But we will never know if we see him again in the future. But for now, we will now officially introduce introduce the final main member of the Straw Hat Pirates crew, which would be none other than Blackleg Sanji the Cook. Now, Sanji is not only a great cook that can cook anything you desire, but he also created the Blackleg fighting style, a fighting style dubbed by his mentor Regleg Zeph, who we'll meet later, using his kicks and his acrobatic moves to create a fighting technique that only Sanji could perform with grace and precision, just like his cooking. In some legends, he is said to have joined the Straw Hat Pirates crew in search of the fabled chef's paradise in the All Blue. This is where the four parts of the Blue Sea, the North Blue, the South Blue, the East Blue, and the West Blue meet. With this, he would be able to help provide better food and dishes over at the floating restaurant, the Barati, located in the Sambas region in the East Blue. This is also located near by the Paradise half of the Grand Line, which also makes it Captain Luffy's mission to help his friends get to the Grand Line and to the fabled chef's paradise. This also set the motivation for everyone on the ship to look out for each other and always make sure that no matter what happens, everyone would always protect each other and fight to bring peace and fairness to all the regions of the world. And we get another wanted poster of Buggy the Clown. Oh boy, he really insists that he's a dangerous pirate captain. But we won't be focusing on him so much. He won't be coming back until the future. But for now, we should be getting back to the story and introducing, or in this case, reintroducing, another member of the Straw Hat Pirates. And we get to see Usopp once again. And speaking of Usopp, his friendship with Kaya helped in a great way, in which the Straw Hat Pirates, who had helped protect her and her home from Kuro and the Black Pirates, gained them the best treasure that they can get so far. The Going Merry's origins have several legends as to how it got its name. One legend says that Merry was the reason why it was named the Going Merry, in which he provided the design and architecture of the ship to make it feel personal and homey for anyone who steers it. Other legends say that Luffy named the ship after Merry after his unfortunate death. We don't believe that Merry is gone, but we all know that he's alive and well as Kaya's butler and not her lawyer, representing her, Kaya's parents, the shipyard, and the estate. Before they met Sanji, the crew were on their way to eat after Zoro's friends recommended them to go to the floating restaurant, the Barati. Captain Luffy was also in need of a cook, but when Don Krieg decided to attack the restaurant, the Straw Hat Pirates defended the place, making sure no one would be harmed and that the establishment would be kept running. But it looks like we'll be seeing another wanted poster of Dracula Mihawk. Now, this story does take place at the Barati, so we'll save this story for another time in the not so distant future. We wouldn't want to start telling more stories and forget our landing point, would we? The Going Merry has always been a very important and integral part of the Straw Hat Pirates crew. But a ship isn't much without its crew and its captain. And speaking about captains, we see that our favorite pirate captain, Captain Monkey D. Luffy, is proud of the ship, ready to set sail and pursue the most important mission of his and the crew's lives, which is to find the One Piece and become the best pirate crew to ever exist. Without the Going Merry, the Straw Hat Pirates wouldn't be able to not only set sail for the Grand Line to find the One Piece, but they also wouldn't be able to come together and form better friendships, relationships, and be more like a family than other pirate crews. The Going Merry is especially important to each of their individual traits, skills, and personalities, as each part of the ship has something that describes them or makes them feel right at home. Many pirates in the world do not have this type of dynamic with each other, but that's what makes this team very special. They know to build each other up and not tear each other down, even if there are bounties on their heads. Finally, we have Nami the Navigator, who always is there to help guide the crew to their destinations and always keeps the guys in line. No matter what happens, Luffy made sure to keep Nami safe after her traumatic experience with Arlong, and making sure that she now has a freeing life without feeling bonded to the horrors and malicious intentions of being used by someone else for their gains and fortunes. The Going Merry has different places for each member of the crew. For Captain Luffy, the figurehead at the front of the ship is his place to sit on, to think, and to observe his surroundings. For Zoro, he likes to usually take his naps on the deck or on the crow's nest on the mast. For Nami, she usually uses the meeting room as a place to keep any navigation charts and maps in check and order, as well as has a small tangerine tree crow in the back of the ship to remind her of her home. For Usopp, he has a workshop for him to make any type of gadgets, weapons, and repairs on the ship or their gear. And for Sanji, he has a kitchen to cook everyone's favorite meals and practice on what he could be able to bring Zeph when he and the crew find the chef's paradise. Every pirate has their journey, and every journey has its paths. These paths were meant to cross over with each other, so that way everyone can learn how to grow and become a part of something bigger than themselves. Later, they'll encounter new allies that would eventually join them, so their crew/family could be stronger and more united to beat the odds. As we dive deeper into these stories of the Straw Hat Pirates, we will learn more about Captain Luffy and his friends and their journey to find the legendary One Piece. On our journey, we will meet other friends and foes that have helped shape their journey to become one memorable adventure that they would never forget. But for now, we shall set sail again to take a rest over at the Baratie, which will be our final destination that we need to visit before the Straw Hat Pirates can resume their journey to find the One Piece and prove that its legendary stories are real. Our story has come a long way, but this will be the final part before we can conclude this momentous tale. But don't worry, this does not mean that we're at the end of the vast amount of other adventures. Besides, we have to explore other important figures in this environment. For example, we have to talk about the nefarious Draco Mihawk and why we meet him here at the Baratie. So, we now see Draco Mihawk in the flesh with this huge sword of his called Yoru. When Don Krieg comes to the Baratie and the Straw Hat Pirates defend the restaurant, Mihawk would also be arriving at the establishment after he had wiped out Don Krieg's army of Marines. This made Don Krieg retreat to the Baratie located in the East Blue. From there, Mihawk would encounter the Straw Hat Pirates and would engage in a duel between himself and Roronoa Zoro. The battle between Zoro and Mihawk is considered one of the most important moments in history, as one of the most monumental instances of character growth for someone in the Straw Hat Pirates crew. You see, Zoro wanted to be known as the best swordsman in the world to ever exist, and take that title away from him. In pursuit of the One Piece, Zoro made sure that while Captain Luffy and Nami had goals and ambitions they were chasing, Zoro made sure to not only join Luffy's crew to find the One Piece, but he also joined on a journey of self-discovery, and after that tiresome battle, it drove Zoro's determination to go above and beyond to reach his dream and fight alongside Captain Luffy and Nami. And here we are, to see our favorite pirate captain, Captain Monkey D. Luffy. He is ready to eat as much as he wants and set sail, making sure that every crew member's dreams come true and keep on pursuing the One Piece. Once dealing with Kuro and the Black Cat Pirates and managing to save Kaya and her family's home, the Straw Hat Pirates would board the Going Merry and would officially meet Sanji at the Baratie. This beautiful restaurant that is built into a huge ship is owned by Chef Red Leg Zeph, Sanji's mentor. Both Sanji and Zeph believe that the Baratie is a restaurant where everyone is welcome, but that the guests should respect the establishment, the food, and the staff, as they follow a specific code that makes the place more of a special home for both the guests and the staff. The code states that they feed people who are starving. nobody wastes food, and because the sea can become cruel and harsh to sailors, and sometimes pirates alike, kindness and respect is essential to have when serving, taking orders, and cooking, even though that sometimes you might have to put up a fight in order for that respect to be met. At the Bharati, food is seen as a culinary art, and Sanji takes his cooking very seriously and makes sure that everyone eats their meals no matter what. And we get a wanted poster of Gold Roger, the pirate captain who changed the game for everyone. He was an inspiration to so many, but this solidifies on how much both people liked him and disliked him on these expeditions that everyone has made in order to find the One Piece. The Bharati also has a lounge area where restaurant goers come to relax, have some refreshments, great food, and timeless moments where new memories get formed. This fish mouth-shaped area was made as a detachable area that can help defend the Bharati against any type of attacks. The fish head, also known as the Sabakashira Swan, have several cannons inside to help protect the restaurant guests and the establishment. It's a feature that a lot of people around the world still don't have an idea about until they see it in action. And here we are with Nami the Navigator, taking it easy before getting the necessary charts and maps before the crew is ready to set sail. The crew would definitely be in a state of confusion and without a sense of direction without her. But even though we have gotten the chance to know about the Bharati, we haven't gotten to know the man behind the Bharati and what it means to run the most respected places. Red Leg Zeph is seen as a mentor and an adoptive father figure to Sanji. When out at sea, Zeph and Sanji would be working together cooking. But when disaster struck, the place they were working at became a wreck. Unfortunately, there were no survivors at sea except for Zeph and Sanji. At 10 years old, Sanji learned to survive when both were washed up on a small section of land together. But before we continue, here we have Usopp, who is getting ready to set sail, but not until he's taken a break, eaten some food, and get ready to set sail to perfect his aim and practice while getting his mind relaxing and taking in the sights. As we get back to Sanji and Zeph, they develop more of a bond when trying to survive on that small isle of land. Even though it costed Zeph a sacrifice that would change their perspectives on survival, Zeph would make sure that Sanji would keep a positive outlook on a grim situation, even if it looks impossible to overcome. While Zeph lost his left leg during that time, he did so in determination for both of them to survive. According to some legends, after 85 days of being at sea, needing to survive and rationing their only food they had with them, a rescue ship that didn't see them earlier within that time had rerouted itself to rescue them and bring them back to civilization. And we get a wanted poster of Captain Monkey D. Luffy, which means that Captain Luffy is getting more famous by the minute, as his bounty of 30 million berries make him more of an important figure in this race to find the One Piece. Despite his supposed smaller size, he's very powerful, as we've seen countless times. Way to go, Captain! Anyways, when Sanji and Zeph got officially rescued, both Zeph and Sanji had a new outlook on life itself, and Zeph took this opportunity to help create and establish the Bharati. This event was the main reason why Zeph helped to establish the Bharati as a helpful reminder to help those in need and make sure that no one who's out at sea should be starving or aiming to only just survive, but should have as much food and provisions as possible. This also gave Sanji a chance to also show more of what he could do to bring more of his talent to newcomers and sailors by stopping by. An interesting turn of events, where we see another wanted poster of Gold Roger. It seems like his legacy will always be around every place we go. With Gold Roger's impact, Zeph took this to mind to make the Bharati a sanctuary for anyone who's sailing on the seas, and even taking the time to bring good hospitality to his own enemies. He feels like everyone has a fair chance to have food and provisions while serving him as a constant reminder to not have an ego and know that hunger should not be a price to pay at sea, but instead should be something that others should have a chance to obtain and not worry about. And here we have Roronoa Zoro, the pirate hunter who relies on a good meal and a good nap to keep his concentration up and his fighting skills intact. He's always ready to fight and defend the Straw Hat Pirates everywhere he goes. But with Zoro, him and Sanji have a well-known rivalry friendship that even though it might come across to many people as that they can't stand the sight of each other, they're just two ambitious crew members who want to reach their goals to be the best. But even though that the Straw Hat Pirates are a crew that won't let others stand in their way to reach their goals, the Marines not only not tolerate pirates, but there's some connection between the Straw Hat Pirates and the Marines. And that comes from its aim connection between Captain Luffy and Vice Admiral Garp. Vice Admiral Garp, also known as Monkey D. Garp, is not only the Vice Admiral of the Marines, but he is also Captain Monkey D. Luffy's grandfather. This complication makes the dynamic more interesting and dramatic. Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp is a man who wanted what he claimed was best for Captain Luffy, which was for him to join the Marines. But Captain Luffy was no ordinary child growing up, as he wanted to be a pirate and wanted to follow his own path and his own dreams. This left a bitter taste in Garp's mouth, especially when Luffy had stirred up some trouble with the Marines when he, Nami, and a young man who teamed up with Captain Luffy named Kobe teamed up together to free Zoro from the Marine base in Shell's Town, which was ran by the self-absorbent and self-centered Captain Axe-Hand Morgan. But before we progress any further, the main dining hall of the restaurant and the Sabagashira 1 are about to connect to each other. Now that we're progressing well, we'll be building Sanji's favorite part of the restaurant, which will be the kitchen. This is the place he feels like he can let his culinary creativity expand. And here's Sanji now, excited to get right into the kitchen and make some of the best meals that will ever be served on the seas of the world. The kitchen has so many necessary utensils and food that makes Sanji love the environment even more than any place in the world. But what makes the kitchen have a special type of familiar feeling is how it's specifically built in the ship-turned-restaurant that doesn't make it feel like a ship, but make it feel like his place to work. The outside of the ship is very awe-inspiring to look at and gives you a special feeling of how you're eating on the sea without truly setting sail. It gives many comfortable tones to make restaurant goers feel at home while at sea. Well, this is an interesting turn of events. Captain Alvida, the reason why Kobe and Luffy meet. This story never gets old, but whatever you do, never call Alvida anything other than beautiful and beloved. The story of how Kobe and Captain Luffy met happens to be where Kobe was catching fish and Alvida and her crew discovered him and kept him hostage on her ship for 2 years, until Captain Luffy stowed away in a barrel and the nearby Marine harbor ship picked the barrel up thinking it was provisions. Alvida and her crew raided the ship and Luffy fought her crew and convinced Kobe to chase his dreams of joining the Marines. When they left, things were getting started for them both. Now this is what we're waiting for. The man who created the best restaurant in the world. Red Leg Zeph himself. It's always a pleasure to see a stern but friendly face in these rough seas. Now at this point, Kobe was both determined and scared of trying to escape from Alvida's tight grip that she had on him, making him stay amongst her crew for 2 years. But with Captain Luffy's advice to pursue his dream and not be afraid of what others would think about him, Kobe decided to help Captain Luffy to help Zoro escape from the deadly Captain Axe-Hand Morgan's marine base. Things were not looking so great, all because Zoro defended a young woman's daughter from being attacked by Morgan's son's dog and got into a fight with him. For that, Morgan's son made a deal with him to be tied in the marine yard for 30 days without food and only survive, or the family would face dire circumstances. But knowing Zoro, he would step in to protect the family and take their place. And it seems like we got another wanted poster of Captain Luffy as well. This seems like Captain Luffy is definitely achieving his dream of becoming king of the pirates. Keep up the good work. Now, when Captain Luffy and Kobe found Zoro tied up at the marine yard, Kobe was very uncertain of deciding to rescue Zoro, as he heard many legends about Zoro being the legendary pirate hunter, as scary as it was. But Captain Luffy didn't hesitate to try and gain a crew member for his team, which ended up in his favor after Kobe revealed to Zoro about Morgan's intentions, and Captain Luffy went to retrieve Zoro's swords from Morgan's son, Helmeppo. So, this is unfortunately Captain Axe-Hand Morgan's son, Helmeppo, who acts nothing like his father. A very spoiled brat of a man-child, Helmeppo likes to do whatever he wants and claim his father will punish anyone who doesn't like him, which says a lot about his character. It seems like he's wanting to stay during the build, but the problem is that Helmeppo is in the way, wanting to hog all the attention and have everything be about him. Well, unfortunately for you, the attention is focused on the Straw Hat Pirates crew and their story on pursuing the Grand Line to find the legendary One Piece treasure. So, if you'll excuse us, we're planning on focusing on the time your father's plans were ruined when it came to breaking your deal with Zoro. Helmeppo definitely likes to hide behind the commanding presence of his father, in which Morgan despises on how his son is seen as too weak to take things seriously, and hides way too many times behind him, making things a lot more difficult for others around him to take Helmeppo seriously. Where this stops, nobody knows. But other than that, the architecture of the Bharati is also very clever, as there's also other ships on top of the main part of the dining hall. It makes the sea and sailor atmosphere feel more known and seen to others. And we finally get to see Kobe now in the Marines, and trying his best to move forward to becoming successful. I guess Captain Luffy's advice had paid off. With these different individuals, these legends would never be told, and the best pirate legends always begin with those who are ready to follow their dreams and ready to change the world with kindness, respect, and accepting those who want to help others, no matter the situation. And with that, we see the Bharati is still the best restaurant in the world, and that it still looks as awesome as ever. We have gone through different adventures and legends leading up to this momentous event of setting sail to the Grand Line. Captain Monkey D. Luffy, Nami the Navigator, Roronoa Zoro, the Pirate Hunter, Chef Blackleg Sanji, and Sniper King Usopp have done so much to create a special team and a family amongst each other, to help support and fight for others who need the support and safety they need when it comes to other pirates trying to take over their towns, and showing the means of what teamwork and unity are like. Even though they are pirates, it doesn't mean that they're wanting to rule over lands and steal and hoard treasure. But they're there to remind everyone of the good people that exist in this world. As they set off, it's time for them to pursue their goals and their wildest dreams, and for them to overcome new problems and meet new crew members as they make their way to the Grand Line to show that the legends of the One Piece are real.